Alrighty, and we are rocking and rolling. My brother from another mother, Phil. What's going on, my brother? How you holding up today, my man?
How you doing, David? I'm doing well.
Awesome, awesome. I wanted to just kind of sit with you real quick and have a conversation, talk a little bit about some of the things you're doing on your side. Welcome to another episode of Sound Off, episode 6. Today we're talking mental health journey, specifically Phil's journey and his company Black Cannabis, which I think it's amazing, and just kind of showing different modalities and varieties of care for veterans that are out there. Phil, one, thank you for your service. Thank you for being here. Thank you for talking with me. Tell me a little bit about, for those that are out there who may not know you, a little bit of your service, where you served, and kind of what you're doing right now, and we'll kind of pick it up from there.
Sure. And first and foremost, I appreciate you, David. Thank you for everything that you're doing, especially for veterans. And thank you also for your service, because without you, there wouldn't be people like me, new OEF and no IF, no IF veterans. So most definitely, you paved the way for guys like us. First and second, my name to everybody that's listening, my name is Philip Dume. I am a Haitian immigrant. My family and I are political refugees. We came to America in 1993. With that being said, my father was in big politics in Haiti under the Aristide regime, and in America, got us here. So I grew up, and my family moved to Trenton, New Jersey. We've been here ever since. With that being said, in 2005, after graduating high school, I came up with the decision of joining the military. And I was stationed at 25th ID Infantry Division in Schofield Barracks, Hawaii. My MOS was 11 Bravo Infantry. So, cool. I had a lot of great training with them. I'll tell you
Oh,
that. It was great, boy. Let me tell you, it was one of the best experiences about 7 years of my life. So with that being said, my unit then got deployed in 2007. We were supposed to be there for about 15 months, but we ended up being there for 26 months. We were the last unit to actually get stop loss under the Obama administration. So that's definitely good. With that being said, I experienced my experience in Iraq, which at the moment we did a little mission in Baghdad, but mostly where we was at, the FOB that we occupied was Camp Taji.
Oh,
Um,
you were in Taji? Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
we was in Taji.
we used to go up there a little bit. I was in we were in the south by Adder, but we ran
Okay.
ops all the way through from the south to the north, whatnot. So yeah, I'm familiar with the spot.
Yeah, we was in Taji. Our main FOB in Taji was Sabo Abor, and then that was with the 19 Deltas. So when I got deployed, the 19 Delta unit and the 25th ID needed a strike horse unit. They needed a couple of infantry guys to get deployed with them, and myself and I think so like 12 of us got deployed with the 19 Deltas. So that was pretty cool also. And then
Nice.
from time to time we would go down there. You know where Five Tigger is at? It was an infantry FOB also. I think so. It was like it was further down south. Cause when we used to go there, it was I think so like one time we got into a mad hellfire too. That was happening down there. So from time to time we did a couple of stuff with the infantry unit too, which was in Five Tigger. So but with that being said, I experienced a good case of PTSD. I was one of those soldiers that was lying to himself, thinking to it as like, yeah, I'm okay, everything's gonna be all
Everything's
right.
fine. So let me
Yep.
ask you. Let me ask you, Phil, because you said something that I wanted to highlight there. You're from Haiti. You know, from Haiti. My family, we've immigrated from the Dominican Republic, so right there next to you, so not too far. It's literally right across in the same island. One of my real good friends from high school, actually, Monty, he's from Haiti as well. But one thing that I've talked about in these live sessions and talking with other veterans, even in Clubhouse where we've met, shout out to Clubhouse and the amazing work that we're doing in there as well, is coming from a Spanish background, Latin background. I could tell you that mental health is not something you talk about. You don't go back home and talk about that because as an immigrant, you know what I mean? And I want to ask you, but I'm going to assume it's similar in that nature, right? You come to this country, you immigrate, you got to settle down, do what you got to do, right? You enlisted, you do a job, you don't show weakness, you don't go back home and tell mom and pop, like, oh, you know, I have a mental health condition or things are not working the way they should. It's just looking at you like, so what you're saying is you're good. Get back
Yeah.
out there, you know? Talk to me a little bit
Cause
about
mom
that.
and pop they didn't really understand, and it's not their fault. Cause on top of that too, and everything, with them being old immigrants, with this plant that saved my life, my mom used to look at it too like it's still crack, and to us, like, we know what crack is. You feel me? But to them, it's just a stigma to it as like, this is a drug. But at the end of the day, I introduced it to her because and I showed it to her like, no, it's not a drug. It's actually a plant that was here before us, and it's here to help us out. Because at one point, my mom went through her stuff to it as like, she had second degree burn from when she was cooking on the stove, and then like the immigrants that we are, the very first thing she did was go get toothpaste. I don't know why we, I don't know why we still do that.
Mm-hmm.
She started putting toothpaste all over just to make sure to us like, it's gonna help out with the burn and the healing and the inflammation. But I told her to her like, yo, I got this cream for you. I just got the making because after I got my surgery in 2014, you could see a visible scar. With that being said, but I came up with a cream in my own kitchen, using a crock pot method with cannabis. And
So,
it,
be-
the
so, so,
bomb.
be- so, so before they fell, so just to kind of give a little context, you leave service, you have PTSD that you've dealt with. You're going through different, modalities. You're, talking about PTSD is not a thing. I think you also had shared before that you were part of some studies as far as mental health was concerned. You try to go through the VA,
Oh yeah, big facts.
before
I
you
was
got to the cannabis part. You tried to do the
okay.
regular things, correct?
Yes, yes. I try to do the regular things. With that said, so like I try to do the regular things. I followed the whole military regiment. What you call it? At one point, I had my own pharmacy in my own cabin. I'm not gonna lie to you. Everybody was around. At one point, I
Mm-hmm.
was getting 300 perk tens on a monthly basis. So I was on the man. I was the man on the block.
Right. So you did
Um,
everything you were told, right? The fact is, you did your
everything,
job. You went one way, you came back another. You're dealing with mental health conditions, PTSD,
everything.
because of what you dealt with. They're giving you this cocktail of all these different things. You're doing all that. Obviously, that wasn't working for you.
No. With that being said, with the cocktails and everything, I feel like so as like the VA needs to or not just the VA, the military needs to understand to it as like these drugs that's being prescribed to us. First and foremost, is being prescribed to us at a very very high rate. There was no reason I was getting 300 perk tens on a monthly basis. That's first and foremost because I don't think I had enough problems so as like where I had to pop at least 10 Percocet tens a day, and that was the regimen for me. So with that being said, I think so like that needs to be put out there. And second, I feel like so as like if the VA wants to hold its integrity at the establishment that it is, so as like it's here for veterans, I feel like so like a lot more veterans need to work inside the VA because the civilians that they have working inside the VA, they're not here for us. They're just here to do their job, and it's not their fault. They're not gonna understand that this veteran, that the problem that he or she may have and everything, that they cannot relate. I
Mm.
understand that the world is hard and everything. I understand that everybody has their problems, but at the end of the day, the problems that civilian people have and the problems that military veterans have is two completely different problems,
Mm.
and that's facts.
So you tried to do all these things. At what point do you get to the? Talk to me a little bit about the studies, because you said you were also part of some of the first studies they did with PTSD with veterans and things like that.
Yes. When I came back also at the VA, so they had a whole bunch of burn studies. I did that. They had a lot of physical tests because I did experience an EFPID also in 2008 in Iraq. So I did that. So I had to run on the treadmill a lot with a mask on just to make sure to it as like I still have my physical strength. I did the sleeping study also at the VA. And also I was one of the very first candidates when the VA came out with their deep tissue massage. That I gave that a try for about 6 months. That helped out a lot, but the pain came back. I also did acupuncture. The acupuncture worked out great, but the thing with the acupuncture, your body gets used to it. And so with that being said and everything, you feel me? And also with all this regimen that's being done, also I was still taking the medicine. At one point, I was taking what was it, 400 milligram quintonapine, which is Seroquel, an antipsychotic drug. Boy, man, when I said I was zombied out, I couldn't even do anything at all. And
Which
that's
and that's a point there, Phil, that I wanted to kind of pause on because you know you have a creative background. You're a creative, right? You're an artist. You kind of have this ability to look at things and kind of find different ways of doing stuff. We'll talk about your company in a second, but that point of being a zombie kills creativity. If
yeah,
you're a veteran who has, let's say, a creative side, or you have, an artistic side, or whatever the case may be, that originality to do those things, it goes away because you're literally just in a zombie mode. So for you, at what point did you say, okay, I can't do this anymore because I
what
have to be
happened?
able to move forward?
In 2012, when I became homeless,
Mm.
that's
Mm.
that's that's when I became tired. No, because at one point and everything, you feel me? I was doing everything I was supposed to do. I was following rules. I was following orders. I was still a soldier without being a soldier, and I was still a civilian. But at the end of the day,
You were still indoctrinated, and that was kind of part of your mindset, executing, doing what you were told.
well, I was indoctrinated, but at the end of the day, a lot of people don't know to it as like for you to get all these medical, stuff that we already deserve that belongs to us, that the VA that you have to continue going. So if you follow up one regiment at the VA, I remember to it as like when I got addicted, I had to go to building 18. Building 18 is where you go to as like you get cleaned up. Building 18, and after I had to do inpatient and outpatient. So I have a certificate for that. So after I got done that, I graduated. I have yet to even pop a pill for a headache. You feel me? So with
Mm.
that being said and everything like that, and within that program, I had to take a piss test every day, and I had to take a breathalyzer test every day.
Wow.
And that if I was to piss hot or breathe or breathe or breathe with alcohol in my breath, I would have to start the whole program all over. So it's like being in the military when we had to be told to wake up in the morning. When we had to be told to, hey, this is time for you to eat. When we had
Mm-hmm.
to be told to, as like, what you gonna call it, getting a squad tactical unit, breaching this door, knowing to as like it's gonna be hella hellfire and shit. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
That's
So you're homeless at this time. You're pretty much like, look, I got to change the narrative here. How did you begin to work your way through that? How long were you homeless for?
I wasn't homeless for long. Like, I have a lot of military brothers. I'm not gonna lie to you. I had a military brother. His name is Raheem Rao. He's currently a correctional officer at the moment, and he has his E6. I think he's an E6 promotable. With that being said, when I was going through what I was going through, him and I graduated high school together in 2005. When I was going through what I was going through, he was a person that I was able to come to, and
Mm.
he gave me a place to stay. So I wasn't homeless for long. With that being said, and then I just continued my regiment. I think around that time also, that's when I decided to go get a federal lawyer to help out my VA cases,
Mm-hmm.
because there was a lot of stuff to it as like that the VA wasn't understanding. There was a lot of how could I say, appointments that I was also missing due to my homelessness.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kept on asking for help, but then again, in the sense of me asking for help with the VA, there was all these other bunch of stuff that I had to do and everything to it, as like I had to drive here, I had to drive there, and at the moment I couldn't drive because I didn't have no vehicle, let
Yes.
alone a place to stay. So with that being said, and that I did have a lot of great brothers and sisters. When I say brothers and sisters, veteran brothers and sisters in
Mm-hmm.
my life.
So
So as like,
you had a community that was able to really step in and help. What did that mean to you, having
I
that
was
community?
here's the funny thing and everything. It wasn't a community. It was just specific people.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel me? Because the VA is cutthroat. I'm not
No,
gonna
no,
lie to you.
I'm not talking about the VA. I'm talking about
No, no, I know, I know.
your brothers and sisters. Yeah.
I was about to tell you. I was about to say the military is cutthroat. The VA is cutthroat. Veterans are cutthroat. Every veteran is not your veteran.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I look out for my brothers and sisters. My brothers and sisters look out for me. But at the end of the day, you feel me? We're not all the same people and everything. You feel me? So, with that being said and everything, I feel like too, like the specific people that I did have in my life, that right there was my community. There was only certain people that I did mess with. Especially when I kept on going back to my programs, I wasn't really much of a talker. So I just kept it moving because at the end of the day, when the VA left me out for dry, I just wanted to just go there, just go do what I had to do, so I could actually bring this documentation to my lawyer and everything like that. So that was
Yeah.
my only focus at that time.
But how? So talk to me about your brothers and sisters though, being able to be there for you when you were able to get up from being homeless and have somewhere to go. What did that mean to you?
Well, it was great because at the end of the day, so I don't have any sisters in real life. My mom was blessed to have six boys. I'm one of six. I'm the second oldest. When my brothers was there for me too. So at the end of the day, I would say to her like not only the cannabis plant saved my life, my real brothers did save my life also because they've been with me through thick and thin. At one point, one of them was my caregiver. Make sure I went to all my appointments. Make sure at one point I was taking all my medicine. If I needed help, especially after the surgery, because I had to get a knee reconstruction surgery in my patella. So he was there with me through thick and thin. and with the cast, I had to have the cast on for about 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
So you know how that goes. So like I said to her, like, my brothers, my real brothers was definitely there, but I also had my other military brothers to it as like that was there, and that really made me feel good because at the end they made me feel like, to her, like I wasn't alone. And every time, so like as a veteran, I know we do feel like that we're always alone and stuff, but I feel like, so like, it just takes time because because the stuff and the trauma that we go through, it's
Yes.
not gonna be something to like, as soon as you meet somebody, you're gonna tell them everything about your closet, your skeletons in your closet. You just don't do that. And after that, and also it's how we're brought up, because as men, we're supposed to be leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And telling people about your feelings, telling people to like, yo, I'm thinking about killing myself and everything like that, that makes you weak, that makes you look weak, that doesn't make you like look like a man. So with that being said, I feel like, so like we live in a society that how could I say to it, like, no, that puts a very, very, very big high standard on on our male on our male figure nowadays and everything. So yes, most definitely. So yeah, I didn't want to
Yeah.
look weak.
Not having vulnerability, and I think that's what part of these conversations begin to break that stigma, right? That you're not weak for speaking up. And again, granted, you want to have a trusted circles, right? Like if me and Phil we break bread, I know you have my back, and I have that confidence in knowing that I can, put the guard down and, get the energy to go back out there and face the world. The world expects so many things, so much of us, but having that close knit bond, that community, whatever it may be a small, community that you have or a few folks that you trust, but having that, I think, speaks volumes because to your point, right, the expectation of this persona that we're supposed to be as one, especially then as veterans and all these other things, minorities, right, you don't show weakness and things like that. But being able to have that, I think, and break that down that you actually can heal, you actually can be real to get healed, speaks volumes. Talk to me a little bit about in that transition. You talk about how this plant saved your life. When did that become something that you started to look into, specifically cannabis?
Well, I started looking into cannabis. Now, don't judge me now. Remember, I told you I was to get 300 perk tens on a monthly basis. I decided to do what I had to do because at one point, when I started smoking a plant in 2012, I didn't want to, take any more pills because I was still able. At one now I just go to the VA and they look at me to like, should we give you a piss test? I'm like, man, look, you're just wasting your time. I'm definitely gonna piss hot, hot. I just got done smoking before I came here. Like I'm like, do you smell it on me? Do you smell it on me, doc?
Mm.
Um, that's nowadays though. But in the beginning, I had to follow protocol, and I just got tired. I just got tired of following protocol. I just got tired of being zombied out. I got tired of imagine now. This is Percocet tens. At one point I had to take 10 of them in one day. There was nothing I was gonna get done being on 10 perk
Mm-mm.
tens a day.
No,
And you
not
feel
at
me?
all.
So with that being said, when I started realizing to it, like, hey, maybe smoking is better, I started, start leasing off the perk tens by myself too. By the way, to it as like, and when I say by myself, I realized it because I remember I told you I've been in building 18, which is you could do inpatient or outpatient, but this is where veterans go to go get cleaned up and everything, especially if they're alcoholic or if they're a druggie.
Okay.
So so with that being said, around 2012, as I was going through that process, I just said to her, like, enough is enough. And yeah, I mean, once I got done receiving my certificate, I had to look for something else to do and everything because after I got clean and I wasn't popping any more pills, I turned to cannabis. When I took my first hit and that, I'm like, yeah, this is it. I was happy.
Mm.
I was hungry. I was eating. I was just being myself. People was like, yo, what you gonna call it? Just smoke. And
Yeah.
I just continued smoking. And at that, I kept on going to the VA. Let the VA know to her, like, yo, I smoke.
Mm.
And then in 2014, there was this group called CMMNJ, which I met in when I really started my cannabis endeavors, really in 2012. But I met them in 2014. No, I met them in 2012 also at the very first event that happened in New Jersey, which was the very first cannabis meetup that happened in North Jersey. So after I met them around 2014, they actually got me to get the strength to testify in front of Senate and a couple of Senate majority and minority leaders. With that testification, that's when they
Regarding the legalization for veterans' use
no
of cannabis, or
no
just
no not
overall?
yet. This was just for getting PTSD as a qualification in the state of New Jersey, and that was in 2014. In 2015, me, myself, and two other veterans that also testified after I got done testifying. So we were the reason why PTSD became a qualification for medicinal marijuana in the state of New Jersey, and veterans did that.
Yes. So now from there, when does Black Cannabis come to become a thing for you in that business, that endeavor?
Cannabis came to fruition in 2017. At one point, when we started doing our cannabis endeavor, like I said in 2012, we got pretty well connected because that's why I said to her, like, no, I feel like, there's two people you can't say no to in this country, and that's kids and veterans. So, me as being a veteran, it was really easy for me to meet a lot of people, like, the High Times owner, Danny Danko, and Rich Cusick. So we got in with them. We went to a lot of High Times Cannabis Cup. And at one point, I just kept on seeing. So it's like, hey, we still getting arrested as black people, but this whole group of people and everything is really enjoying the plant, having fun, smoking, and security is right there. The cops not even bothering them. I also went to a couple of events at the Boston Freedom Rally, which was just as like a High Times Cannabis Cup. So with that being said, my business partner and I, his name is also Phil. His name is Fillmore Charles. He's also a longtime friend that I grew up with. We started this company, this brand, and we formed Black Cannabis together. So Black Cannabis became a platform for veterans, and a voice for people in the cannabis industry that was getting blackballed and that was still getting in trouble. But at the end of the day, they had a good thing going on because not only were they a minority, but the stigmatism to it, like as minorities, we abuse the plant.
Mm.
We grow in abundance. We should be going to jail. But what a lot of people know about the cannabis industry, that a lot of people doesn't grow organically. When a state is forcing people to only go get the cannabis plant at the dispensaries, I think that's not fair. Because at the end of the day, I don't know what you're putting inside your cannabis. I don't know how you grow your cannabis. I
Hmm.
don't know what type of what you're feeding your plants. I don't know
Yes.
what type of soil you're using. And that right there should actually be one of the things that we should take into consideration when we go into legalization. Because I don't want to be another pharmaceutical guinea pig.
Hmm. Interesting. So, and I want to bring up here your website just for those that can be looking to find the work that you're doing over at black-cannabis.com is where they can find the work that you're doing here, uh, information, education, interviews, and so forth. Tell us a little bit about what some folks can find here on your site.
Well, a lot of people, what they could find on the site to it as like first and foremost, we're definitely gonna be coming out with some products and some apparels. So definitely be on the lookout for that. But right now, what you can find on the site is a lot of information, a lot of beautiful people that we have interacted with in the cannabis industry that we have done interviews on, to as like that's telling us their experience and telling the audience their experience in the cannabis industry, how easy it's not because they are a minority. They might be black, they might be female, they might be a veteran. But with that being said, at the moment, if you was to go on the website, you'll definitely find a lot of free information.
And
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 it's
and
not,
this here is
it's not.
your the Black Cannabis Show is also one of the shows that your company hosts as well.
Yes, the Black Cannabis Show is the show to highlights that we host when it comes to the people that we interview. That tells their experience and their stories in the cannabis industry.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
So again, for those,
we have a good amount of episodes. I'm sorry, David. Yeah, we
no,
have a
no,
good
no. Yeah.
amount of episodes though.
That's amazing. Black-cannabis .com. Again, for those, as we're seeing here, you have the show, the magazine information, a little background information as well, and also you're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So just a wealth of information here that's available. So just want to just kind of highlight that as we have it kind of up on the screen. A little bit about your background, being able to sign up for your mailing list and so forth as well, and even communicate and send messages. So this is amazing. So
Yes,
I really appreciate
we
this.
also we also been featured in Penthouse.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, the last issue last year we was featured in Penthouse for like 2 months.
Nice. Very nice.
Page 26 to 28.
So there's something you mentioned that I think it's good though for also other veterans out there, which is, you can't say no to babies and veterans. And that speaks also to, what we recognize to be the hustle, right? At the end of the day, there's a power in the journey of, you served, you got out of service, you experienced what you experienced, right? There was a period of homelessness. You went ahead and tried different things. You found, that this plant is basically something that was available to you, as something that you lobbied and helped to even bring to the attention via your lobbying and what you've done there, and then moving on to starting your company speaks volumes of, regardless of the fact that you have PTSD and you experience what you've experienced, you still were able to push forward. And I think that's just something that I wanted to highlight, because I guess my question to you is, there's someone watching this out there who may be in the same place you were at when you were homeless, and in their mind there's just no way of getting out of that space, let alone having a company, let alone being featured in Penthouse, let alone doing the things that you're doing. But you and I put our pants on the same way. What would you say to someone right now who may be in that spot where they just maybe hit rock bottom, or they're homeless and they don't see a way forward, but they've been through the same thing you and I have been through? What would you say to that person watching this?
Only thing I would say to that person is like the same thing I would tell myself, because at the end of the day, to it as like, I'm pretty sure that person is gonna be, he or she is gonna be a veteran. Um, First and foremost, giving up is easy. Giving up is very, very easy. This life that we live in is a whole bunch of trials and tribulation, and that's the experience of it. And I'm pretty sure too, as like, if you're a veteran and that you're watching this, you've been through thick and thin. You've made it back from Iraq. That's the hardest thing that I could tell you to it as like, that I probably experienced when I was in the military, was my deployment. So with that being said, giving up is very easy. But
Yeah.
if you can make it back from Iraq safe and sound, man, there shouldn't be no giving up in your vocabulary. And it took me a while to understand that. But at the end of the day, it's baby steps.
Yes.
We are veterans. It's not just one person that's a veteran. Veteran is a whole. You have brothers and sisters out there. Reach out. That's one thing I didn't do also. I'm telling each and every one of you, reach out. I cannot say that enough. Reach out to each other. We are here for each other. And it took me a while to learn this, to as like another veteran then show me this, and here I am right now. I'm actually helping other veterans out, and that I'm showing them the ropes to it, as like, you don't have to go through this, and it just takes a phone call away. So with that being said and everything, definitely keep in touch with each other. We was doing it in the military. I mean, we could do it outside the military.
And I think that's powerful, and that's kind of why I want you to kind of being able to speak that life into someone who may be watching this, who may not have any hope, right? Who may feel like, what's the worth of it? But the fact is, we serve, right? We win through things. Whether you are Iraq veteran, Afghanistan veteran, a Gulf War veteran, or a Vietnam veteran, the fact of the matter is, if you can see us and hear us, one step at a time, you're still here. And I think the biggest thing for many of the profiles and folks that have done and been through things like on your side of the house, your journey from, dealing with mental health, being homeless, getting to a place of trying different things, finding that cannabis is an option that you lobbied for and now is legalized, and there's a fight to go there, say there's more than one way to treat something, and you have found this to be an option that works for you, to the point where now you've even been able to create your own company, and you're actually doing something back to pay it forward. I think it's a powerful message for someone who may not know that there is an option. Being able to reach out. To your point, you had a small community, people that reached out, people that were there for you, who were able to step in. We always talk about in Clubhouse, if someone needs something, speak up. We're here. We'll jump in and we'll support. And I think the first thing you said, right? The community might be jaded, but I think individuals like us who begin to at least be part of the change is what slowly begins to change the narrative to where, hey, not everybody's your friend. You gotta be careful who you let in your circle. At the end of the day, the veteran community is just like the world, but there are good people out there who are truly trying to step forward. And I think supporting companies like yours, I think it's amazing. I want you to tell me also, you have another thing going on. So right there, right, we could put a bow on it and say, Phil, you're doing amazing things. We support what you're doing. That's amazing. However, you're still doing more things. You also you're doing something with water. What is that about?
Yes, David. So the water company that we're part of also, we actually just got blessed with, because was looking to do some form of collaboration when it came to isolate CBD, which is about 99.96% pure, but it's CBD, which you can still pass a piss test, by the way. But with this CBD and everything, it is actually going to be the best collaboration, because distillate is another form of CBD that people use when it comes to the water collaboration. But distillate is not water soluble, so you have to do a lot of shaking for you to even get some type of effect, and you probably might have to put a lot more in there. So with that being said, we were also looking for a water company to us, like it was black owned, because because we're also a black owned company, and come to find out to it as like one of our brand ambassadors. He's an ex NFL player for Black Cannabis. He's also gonna be our master grower. He's the one that brought this water company to our attention because he knew exactly what we're looking for.
Wow.
So the water company is also new, and they're also a veteran-owned business. So that makes it even better to it as like because we all Black Cannabis is also a veteran-owned business company.
Yeah.
So with that being said, when we got done talking business, we couldn't continue our business and our collaboration. But the company, they told us exactly what they needed help with, and they needed help with a lot of distribution because they're brand new. So lately, we just been helping out with a lot of distribution, and that's really my case. And one of the things that we wanted to do was especially is help out with the crisis of Flint, Michigan.
Hmm.
So we reached out to the mayor of Flint, Michigan. We've spoken to the mayor. So this mission is called 10,000 cases, and the hashtag is called hashtag Flint Good Water. Where we're gonna try to take, not try, we're gonna raise enough funds and take about 10,000 cases of our own water, called Good Water, on Instagram, which you can find us on Instagram. And then to help out with the Flint, Michigan situation. Because at the end of the day, our water is very, very pure. It's spring, it's black owned, and it's veteran owned.
And that's good water. They can find you on Instagram
Yes,
as well.
yes, Good Water on Instagram, and it's gonna come up as Philly Good Water. But yes, that's the it's at Good Water on Instagram.
Okay, Philly good water.
Yes, sir.
This water is good. Okay, I see it. So let me pull
You
it up as
see
well.
the veteran on
Yep, right there, right? Yep.
Yep. Yes, yes, sir.
Philly Good Water as well. This is goodwater.com. So some amazing work there going on. So this is part of a new venture you're also supporting and getting in with, which is again also veteran owned. And the initiative for Flint as well, I think is just amazing being able to do that. For those that may be looking to support some of this here, this is goodwater.com. And on Instagram, it's at Philly Good Water. But this is again amazing work. So to me, the highlight of having a conversation like this, it's not only the good work you're doing, but it's being part of the change that you want to see in the world, right? You could have literally just gave up when you was just zoned out on meds. You could have gave up during the homelessness. You could have got out of that and just say, "Hey, I'm good. I'm just gonna go that way." But something inside of you said, "Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and lobby. I'm gonna go ahead and testify. I'm gonna go ahead and try to push the narrative to make PTSD part of the, a requirement for Jersey to be able to get this medicinal marijuana and so forth." And then I'm gonna start a company, and now I'm supporting stuff. What would you say is one of the reasons that Phil don't stop? Because at the end of the day, it's easy to say that Phil hustles and does what he has to do, but what keeps you going to push the narrative forward and help and do the things that you're doing, brother?
First and foremost, my brothers. I definitely have to give it up to them. Um, um, I'm gonna have one of them right here next to me. I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to come on the live though, but he definitely understands this. He's my youngest, so he travels with me just about every business endeavor I go to. Uh, First, yeah, that's really my family. I feel like when we talk about generational wealth, as people of color, I feel like we get it confused, because generational wealth is supposed to be something that you could hand down to your kids, that your kids could hand down to their kids, and their kids could hand down to their kids. It's supposed to be generational wealth for the family. It's supposed to be community. It's supposed to be forever. In the sense of that, I feel like too as I'm not chasing, but forming that generational wealth for my family.
Yes.
'Cause at the end of the day, water is essential. It's part of life. That right there is generational wealth. Cannabis been here before we have, and it's gonna be here after we're gone. That's part of generational wealth. So with that
Yes.
being said, generational wealth doesn't have to be with money. It could be with land, real estate, and also leaving able to leave behind a company back for your family that they don't have to go work for the next person. and make them rich, and at
Mm.
the end continue. So with that being said, I feel like I give everything that I'm giving it to, everything that I'm doing right now, I give it to my family. They keep me going.
If you could go back, Phil, and talk to yourself when you was right coming out of being homeless and your brothers was there for you to kind of help you out and kind of start, getting your things back in order, what would you say to yourself to help this journey come along much more quicker, faster, or better, based off where you're at right now? Like, you know how everybody's, you have lessons learned and you're doing amazing things, but if you could go back and give yourself a tip to be able to kind of be a little further ahead today, what would you tell yourself?
I don't think I would tell myself anything, David. Only thing I would tell myself, man, get ready for the ride. That's it. That's it. Cause I know to it as like I don't think. Yeah, I don't want to give myself no heads up and everything because I feel like too. I like the experience of all of this is one of the greatest things that I would definitely would not want to change. The experience of me being a veteran, the experience of me being in Iraq, the experience of me being in the military. Not in 1,000 years would I ever think that I would know I would know how to speak Arabic. I need that kilim ziyada bi shway shway, which I taught myself in Arabic in
Mm,
Iraq for when I was
wow.
in 26 months because we was always with the locals. Arabic is my fifth language. So
Yes.
with that being said, the experience is more worthwhile than the success itself, and after that, I'm still experiencing. I don't have no degree, no background for business, but here I am. I'm doing very, very good in business. I'm not gonna say very well. I know how to use the proper terminology, but
Yes.
I'm doing very, very good in business. So with that being said and everything, I just feel like too. I was like, I don't think I would tell myself anything. Just be like, yo, man, it's about to be one hell of a ride. Get
It.
ready for it.
I tell you what I'm picking up that you're putting down, Phil, is enjoying the journey. I think sometimes people get stuck in the destination and they don't enjoy the journey. And I think what you hit on is really just, buckle in for the ride, enjoy the ride. The goods, the bad, the ups and downs, all of it is part of what's put you where you're at today to be able to help create opportunities not only for yourself and your family, but for others through your companies and things that you're doing. So I think that to me is really resounding as far as just enjoying. You know how it is, right? Like, don't bring me flowers when I'm dead, right? Like right now, this
Nah,
right here as brothers is, I want to give you your flowers. I want to be able to recognize what you're doing because seldomly as men, right, we support each other to be able to just, respect that, hey, I see you, King. I see what you're doing. And we need more of that, right? Because the fact of the matter is you can rise and I can rise and we can have an empire that literally lives next to each other's empires. We don't need to tear each other down. We have the ability to build. If I see what you're doing, I want to support that. I want to shed some light on that. And I think that's really what gives us that ability as veterans and being able to have our unique space, if you're able to connect with the right people, but being the right change for what we want to see, but enjoying the journey, right? Smelling the flowers, just stopping, like you said, hey, you're doing good for business. And I like the fact that you kind of called that out because the fact is you got to appreciate the levels of the game, right? If it's day one of your business, appreciate that. It's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? If you're doing okay in business, enjoy that. You're doing okay because then you're gonna do good. Then you will do well, and then like there's levels to the game, and it doesn't matter because you know how it is. Everyone wants to just talk about when they're just killing it completely. Like no, enjoy that you're good. Enjoy that now you're moving to doing well, and I appreciate that because I think it speaks to the volume where nobody sees this. Nobody sees the entrepreneur journey of hey, no, I'm doing good right now, and that is good. That is okay because that's what's going to give me the strength to appreciate this step. When I take the next step, I'm going to appreciate that too, and I'm going to pay it forward and tell that story. So, I just wanted to highlight that because I think it's a powerful message.
thank you. I want to tell people an executive doesn't become an executive tomorrow. He or she definitely has to and had to fetch coffee in the beginning. P Diddy did not just wake up and become P Diddy. Before P Diddy started his own record label, he was fetching coffee for the other record labels that he was working with. So with that being said, it doesn't happen overnight. Don't need to rush stuff. I keep telling people, man, no need to rush stuff. Time, I understand time is something that we cannot get back, but the experience should be considered part of that too and stuff. Because at the end of the day, the experience should be something that you cannot get back. It should be something that you experience right there and then keep it going. Everything should not be about business. Relationship brings business.
And I think that's powerful because come on, Phil, man. I got my business, man. I just wanna get 1,000 followers, man. I just want to shine. I want to get there. I don't want to build this stuff, man. Can I buy some followers? Can you give me a shout out real quick? I don't want to sit there and just drive and have this meeting and do this work. That relationship aspect. What I mean, you said it, and I'm calling it out because you said, hey, there's two things you can't say no to, right? Babies and veterans. and that means that you was
Yes.
not taking no for an answer. And it's that resiliency that, hey, it's the same thing we did in combat, right? It's the same thing we did in service, right? If we was out there and I was like, hey Phil, you got my right, I got your left, we're gonna find a way through this, in, up, around, or through it. And then when it comes to this side, I think when we tap into that, that's the power. Because in your mind, like you said, it's powerful. You can't say no to me. I'm gonna find a way to make this thing happen. And I think that that is the key to the success. The relationships that you're building, those connections that you're making, and literally just doing the work. Like you don't wake up tomorrow just owning the conglomerate and owning, the whole Carter. You got to build it brick by brick. And I think that's a virtue, sadly, that today people don't have because they want it quick. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Can I just shine? Can you give me a shout out with your 2 million followers? Can you get up there real quick? Like, no, you got to work your way up there, man. Put in the work.
See, I'm glad you said that because you see with this water and this company right here, we're doing a little business right here. I'm getting ready to go over there right now to Patterson, New Jersey, to actually go meet a gas station owner. He owns about 4 gas stations. He loves to do work with veteran-owned businesses, and I
Mm.
met him through Clubhouse. Another gentleman I met through Clubhouse also. He's doing a lot of stuff in the cannabis industry in the state of New Jersey. And I'm talking about some big stuff.
Ain't,
I'm
ain't,
talking about
ain't, ain't, ain't
overseas
you ain't
stuff,
you talking to
federal
Life?
stuff.
You connected with Life the other day. Life Griffith. We was in
Yes.
Clubhouse. I'm actually meeting with him in about 5 hours. I'm gonna talk to him real quick. Yeah, so we gonna
You
we
talk,
gonna we gonna wrap
yes.
up. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I plan on linking up with him also this week. He already sent me his number and everything. Yeah, I checked out his profile. That boy bigger than life, man. On some real stuff. He big. He big, big. I can't wait for our
Yeah.
conversations.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
I'm
I'm,
happy.
inter-
I'm
I'm,
happy
gonna-
to
I'm,
sit
gonna- I'm
down
gonna
with you.
interview him here in a few hours this evening and link up with him, man. But this is the power of what we have going on. I think it's literally a mobilization of veterans doing things, communicating. If you're in Clubhouse, look us up. We started Veterans Network Club. Look it up. It's literally where we're trying to bring folks together. You have Black Cannabis in there as well. You have your armies in there supporting. Look us up, connect with us, because ultimately, like I said, it doesn't matter where we go. We'll find each other one way or the other. I find you on Instagram. I find you on Facebook. I find you in the real world. Drive down to the gas station, make it happen. But in closing, brother, I want to say, one, I appreciate the conversation. I think this is a good introduction to many conversations moving forward. But I think just to be able to highlight your journey where you weren't held back by a diagnosis, you weren't held back by specific things. I put on top the crisis number because for some it could be triggering to hear some of the things that have been said in some shape, fashion, or form. And the reality is, getting the help you need may come in different ways. And I think highlighting, just for example, what you've been able to find through cannabis is something that needs to be said. Literally, our next conversation, we can go into more details to the things you said about sourcing, strains, how it's cultivated, how folks are getting that, what the states are at, how veterans can go out there and begin the process of mobilizing, doing what you did to go out there and find ways to push the narrative. But I think mobilizing our veterans to do something and speak up and have a voice, regardless of whether the VA recognizes it or not right now, it's your life. You have to take ownership of it. And like you said, popping all these pills that they give you, you walk around like a zombie, and there's life beyond that. Because if you still popped up on all those pills, there'd be no Black Cannabis, there'd be no collaboration with Good Water. All these things you're doing right now wouldn't happen.
It wouldn't be no us having this conversation, Dave.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not, brother. Um, so, in closing, brother, I'd say, what's something you would want to put out there in the community for those that may be watching, hearing this, who may be in a place right now where they're hurting or may not have, may just be in a place where they just need some positivity and some energy. What would you like to put out there as one of your parting thoughts?
Well, here's the first and foremost, man. This is it. This is it. If anybody, veterans, brothers and sisters, like I said, so that we have to stick together. I need you on my 3, I need you on my 6, my 9, my 12. That is who I trust. So with that being said, my phone number is 609-789-2674. Don't be afraid. Don't be a stranger. That is my real number. I will pick up 24 hours a day for all my brothers and sisters. Don't be
Mm,
afraid. Talk to me. I'm here to listen. I'm just not here, just to make business also. Because at the end of the day, I'm also here to build relationship.
yes.
And if we could help each other out, and if you're in a different state, like I said to us, like we're in New Jersey, we could definitely do a lot of stuff together. Because there's a
Yes.
band of us, and if we could build another band of us together in your state, let's do it.
Yes. I
Veterans
love
lead
it.
the way.
Yes, I love it, brother. I just want to double down and say that if you're in a place like that, reach out wherever you're seeing this. Send a message, send a text, send a call, send a whatever smoke signal. The point is, don't go at it alone. Reach out because there's people out here who are willing to support and help. And even if it comes down to be able to reach out to Phil and say you may have an idea, or you may have want to bounce an idea off of someone who's actually doing what you may be wanting to do. Again, this is the opportunity to have these conversations and not just hold back information. Especially as veterans, minorities, we need to start learning to really build together versus just, Phil, you say over there, I'm gonna stay over here. Nah, I don't want you to see what I'm doing. Like, that's not how you build. Like they say, if you want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, go together. And that means being able to have partnerships with like-minded individuals, where real recognizes real, and you attract the energy you're putting out. So I want to just commend you, brother, for the work that you're doing, both in the cannabis business and the water business, and taking those righteous causes that you are. So I know there's a lot of work to do, but I just wanted to highlight where you're at right now and the amazing work that you're doing and the story of resiliency and pushing through that, because you're not defined by a diagnosis or what may have happened, but you push through all that and you use all that as to be part of your story. So I commend you, my brother, and I just want to thank you for your time and sitting with me today and just sharing your story.
I appreciate you, David, most definitely, man. And on top of that, too, man, the next story is gonna be bigger than life. Like I said, too, like you're definitely gonna be part of this movement too, not just part of Black Cannabis, but I'm definitely looking forward when the paperwork comes out for this water stuff that we're about to do and flip. You're gonna be one of the very first people that I'm definitely gonna contact, because I would love to have your nonprofit part of this. Because at the end of the day, you're a brother too. Veteran-owned businesses stick together.
Yes, definitely, brother. I appreciate you. So with that being said and done, we appreciate you guys sitting with us here today and girls sitting with us today, having this conversation, spending some time with us, and just being real for a second and just having a genuine veteran to veteran conversation here on Sound Off. We'll be back for another episode, so stick around, be safe, and check on each other.